Well, hey, Christy.
Hi, Kelly.
Do you know what day it is?
It's Thursday.
It's
Podcast Thursday.
Podcast Thursday, best day of the week. Or in our case, it's been, I think, a couple of weeks. So it's the best day of this last fortnight and not the game you play on the computer.
I don't even know how to play that game.
Me neither. It looks stupid. I'm not into it. Now it's a whole movie.
Really
It's a whole
dumb.
movie. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, wait, that Fortnite's not the movie. Minecraft is.
Oh, I've watched that.
Whatever.
I actually
Shit.
own it now. Yeah.
You own the Minecraft
I take my
movie?
kids to see it in the theater.
Doesn't mean you should own it. You
Well, now
owned
I
your
own
seat
it
for 2
because,
hours.
well, I own it
Man.
because I got the ad that said now available on digital. I was like, what can keep Colton out of my hair for 2.5 hours? The Minecraft movie. And Presley will watch it too as a bonus.
This feels like a good Mother's Day intro segment then, because if you found something that magically distracts your kids for 2.5 hours, you secured some much needed me time. Then I guess we might as well dig into our Mother's Day episode, reality versus expectation. And as expected, I have a dog whining outside my door because why would you ever want to be alone?
Kelly, I feel like just from your overall tone, I know how this Mother's Day is gonna go. I can't wait to tell you about mine because mine is irony. Like it literally is just one big ironic circle that I was like, how did this even happen?
Okay, let's call this segment When I Told You I Didn't Want Anything. You should have read between the fucking lines, kids. Let's start there.
My kids can barely read, Kelly.
Mom can't spell, kids can't read. Nobody's getting
That's
nothing for
actually
anything.
not true. That's not true. Both of my kids are great at school and great readers.
Great. Well, my Mother's Day was actually very, very quiet because my husband is away. He is in Canada doing guy stuff and helping his mom with her house that we're selling. And then my sons live in Canada, in BC. And so it was just my daughter and I, and she's 19, so she doesn't wake up before noon. So I got definitely quiet me time, mom in bed, but I had to make my own coffee, which is some bullshit.
Okay, I can one up you on that one. I'm not going to try to one up.
This isn't
but
a
I'm
competition.
Going to. Let's remember that our children are very different ages. So
Definitely.
You know, when I was younger, I used to think about Mother's Day and I'm like, oh, I'd get breakfast in bed, which eating in bed is so decadent for me. I love it, actually. Maybe it's crazy. Maybe it's weird. Maybe it's because as a child, I was never allowed to take food out of the kitchen. But eating in bed is like watching TV is like all my love languages.
All the self-care
All the self-care. So I have to back up a little bit and say a couple of things. One, I had a hysterectomy not this past Monday, but the Monday before. So the Monday before Mother's Day, I got rid of any way to make me a mother ever again.
Nothing says I'm going to celebrate my very last Mother's Day like ripping out the ability to make any more tiny humans come out of your vagina.
Correct. So I play into this that,
It went okay.
It went fine. I mean, It went fine. There was this point with the doctor, and this is maybe, I don't know about you, and maybe you do this, but when I'm going to have a medical procedure, I don't read anything about it. Because if I start to, I will turn into I ask a couple of people that I know really well that do that type of research, and then I just go with it. Because if I do all of the prep work, I will not sleep for a month. Right?
I just have a couple of clarifying questions. When you say you do no reading about it, do you mean you're not going down a doomsday rabbit hole about everything that could go wrong, or you're not reading even the simplest pre and post-operative instructions given to you by a medical professional specific to your care?
Okay, doomsday, definitely not. Like hard out. That will make everything look like a bad idea. So absolutely not on the doomsday. Reading the patient, what the doctor, medical professionals give you. Yeah, if it's bulleted. So I'll catch anything
So
in
bold and
anything in bold or
tiny bullet. If it's more than a trifold brochure, you're out.
If you get a paragraph that's longer than this, I feel like you could have broken it up better for easy digestion on my part. And maybe something in me, the communications part of me is like, that's shitty communications. Clearly it didn't need to be read.
This could have been an email. This didn't need to be
This didn't need to be a meeting or a brochure. This could have been one bullet. Okay. So So I go in Monday morning and my sweet mother takes me, of course, because let's go get rid of my Mary Catherine. Let's go get rid of my girl bits. I'm not all of them. Anyway, so me being me, I had just got back from Austria 30 hours before from a
Ooh,
business
a
trip
little
in Austria. So
jet laggy.
we'll talk about that at another time. So this is the shape that I'm rolling up into this hospital, right?
You're like,
Just
"I am
that.
uneducated and underslept. Let's do this."
Let's do it. Someone put me out. So the surgeon, first of all, I don't know. Is there something with what are they called? The anesthesiologists that say they have to be stupid hot? Every
I mean,
anesthesiologist I've ever had has been like gorgeous.
I don't kn I don't know exactly, but here's my suspicion. Because generally speaking, that's the last person you make eye contact with as you're going down. And so, 1, possibly you could have sweet dreams if this was a really attractive person. Or 2, at the very least, if it's the last thing you ever see, it was worth looking at. I can't confirm that is the criteria used for, recruiting new med students, but if you're a good looker,
Be an anesthesiologist. So
get
here's
into
the order.
anesthesia.
This is the order of people that I see, right? I see my nurse. She was fantastic. Love her. Amazing. She does tip me off that, hey, by the way, the anesthesiologist coming in here, because her and I, of course, are laughing about ridiculous
Yeah.
things within like 2 minutes. We're just like cracking up because that's what we do. And she's like, by the way, he's really good looking. And I was like, okay, duly noted. Because she said that because somebody else came in and was looking at my surgeon and was like, oh, the hottie. And I was like, my surgeon's, I mean, he's
You're
a
like,
handsome,
"Your eyes are broken."
he's a
He's fine.
handsome man. Of course, I'm talking to him usually about,
Lady
abnormal
bits.
bleeding and, you
Yeah.
know, incontinence, right? Like, so no one that I talk to
These are
about
not
that.
sexy
These are
conversations.
not sexy conversations. Sex is definitely not at the forefront when I'm having these type of conversations.
Definitely.
So the nurse and I are doing all of our things, and in walks the anesthesiologist. And Kelly, I looked this man in the eye and I giggled like a schoolgirl. He was like, I was prepared for like,
Attractive.
okay, attractive, but
Yeah,
he was
okay.
like, take
Hot.
Dr. McDreamy and make him blonde, blue-eyed, and like a Greek god, and that's what this man looked like. And I was on no drugs at the time. And so
How old we talking
I
ish?
think he was I'm gonna guess he was mid-40s somewhere.
So, even better
So
in
he
his
had like the
prime,
little
handsome, yes, little
yeah,
bit of
he had the little
smile lines.
lines here and there, so he's not a
Probably had a
child.
couple of grays.
I don't know. He was like smoking hot, smoking hot. Okay, we should stop talking about this now. Anywho, then my surgeon comes in, who's a very good looking man. And he comes in and he's like, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. And this is what we signed up for. I'm like, yep, yep, yep. He's like, you've read your post op instructions. I'm like, my mom's over
Nice.
there with her glasses on. Mary's like, yes, we did. We read them all. I've got them right
Yes.
here.
Mary Catherine
Mary
read them.
Catherine read them. So, anywho, I feel like she's an extra character that we're making out of my mother. Um, Anywho, so it's Monday, right? This is before Mother's Day. And he's like, hey, what does your week look like? And he's like, for the next 2 weeks, you got to kind of like lay low. I'm like, yeah, no exercise, no lifting over 9 pounds. And he's like, good job. He's like, so what do you have going on this week? So mind you, I've been gone for a week from my children. So like mom's going into crazy mom. I don't have another setting. It's just crazy mom. There's no other setting when it comes to my children. It's different
By
types of
going into
crazy.
it, I mean, she went in the front door when she got back, so that's how she went back into Crazy Mom. She didn't leave it.
No,
She
no.
relocated it.
So I'm like, well, I'm off today and tomorrow. And Thursday day, I had signed up to take my daughter to the Royals game with her class. So Thursday day, I'm going to go to the day at the K with her fourth grade class. And he like his face. And I was like, and that night she has a soccer game. And I was like, and then I've got a couple meetings with work and I have a couple meetings on Friday, but then I'm mostly taking the day off. And then on Friday night, my son has a baseball game. And so we're going to go to that. And then my daughter has a soccer tournament this weekend, which is 4 games, and we're gonna go see Katy Perry with all of her friends on Saturday night. His surgeon has your face, Kelly. He
He at
goes,
that point would have called the hot anesthesiologist over to jump some fucking Versed or some forget me drug into you so you would forget that itinerary because you're an idiot if you think you're doing all of that.
listen, I clearly didn't think this out, okay? Because I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I can deal with some pain, right? It's gonna hurt. Big deal. Half of my life hurts. Just suck it up and get through it. So, anywho, he's like, no, actually, you should do none of those things. I'm like, say what? And he was like, yeah, take it easy means you like sit on your couch or lay in your bed.
Maybe you can walk between those two rooms, but otherwise, let us not forget that though there were only a few punch holes in your stomach to do this laparoscopy surgery, this is still major fucking surgery. I'm yanking some bits outside of you and I'm leaving some bits behind that didn't start there that need to integrate into your tissues, but I digress. You look at the tiny little holes and you're like, it wasn't so bad. Could have completely renovated the inside of your stomach at that point.
He probably did. Can you throw some lipo while you're at it? But I don't
Yeah,
think I
exactly.
don't think
If
that
you're
that.
into removing some things, there's some fat cells that can hit the bricks.
So I start crying because I'm like, Press is gonna be devastated, right? Because she's missed me and I miss my kids. Anyways, whatever. Hot anesthesiologist comes back in. I
Made
don't
it
know
all
what
better.
happens for the next day or so.
He looked into my eyes dreamily and I went, sleepy night night.
Night night, night night. Anyways, so the surgery went great, by the way. Everything's
Excellent.
fine. I have managed to not screw it up yet, but I will tell you, I did go to the Katy Perry concert and I did go to all 4 of my daughter's soccer games this weekend. Yeah, so there's that piece of it. So getting back to Mother's Day, unless you want to
She's
interject
like,
and
we're
tell
going to
me
just
what.
breeze by the non-compliance because we're not going to get into that.
Ironically,
Go on.
there's an app that's all about compliance that I actually wrote a proposal for last week about. I was like, yeah, patients don't comply with anything. And I was talking
No, you're
to me.
right. You're like, I'm the best person to write this because I'm literally writing an autobiography.
Well, Dr. N, we'll call him
McDreamy,
Dr. N because no, not McDreamy.
not the
Like,
dreamy
he's fine. I
McDreamy.
mean, he's very good,
Dr. Okay
attractive man.
looking.
He just wasn't a Greek god like his counterpart. Bless his heart.
God, I want to
Like,
get
it
put to
must
sleep by a
suck.
Greek god.
I mean, listen, I was like, oh, and that you got a tan from your wedding ring. That's fine, whatever. So back to, I digress, but the surgeon did call me the day after and not his office, but the surgeon was like, hey, so that list you gave me, like, are you gonna, can you just hold off anything until like at least Saturday? Like anything.
How'd you do
And
with
I'm
that?
like, I did
I mean,
fine. I did it. I listened.
you did nothing until Saturday?
I had some meetings, wrote a couple proposals. I think that math might be wrong on those. So I hope it's in my favor. Just kidding. So
I hope
anyhow,
you know what? It's okay to be a non-compliant patient, but don't simultaneously be the one who checks back in with the doctor and got nothing but bitching about why it hurts and how it hurts and this isn't great because I'd be like, follow the
that's why you're probably not a healthcare professional, Kelly.
I was and I was for many years, but also the reason why I'm not a school teacher.
Oh God.
I went to school to be a school teacher, and within the first semester of my freshman year, I realized, no, I can barely keep my shit together dealing with my own children, let alone 30 plus of other people's children who I have no skin in the game for. So clearly not set out to be a teacher, and that's why I am not.
I have the ultimate respect for our teachers because I could not do their job.
Not with any authenticity. I could fake it
No,
for
I
a
mean,
bit,
I would
but
have to be so heavily medicated to do their job.
way more patient
And
than I
people
am.
go to school for this. Like they go to school to know that, especially here in the States, you're not going to make any money.
Yeah, it's
You're
like
going to
a
have
calling.
asshole parents that tell you that you're wrong and you should be raising their children and
Yeah.
their offspring to deal with. Like people are like, oh, teachers just skate by. I'm like, that's some bullshit. If they're skating by, it's because our system is broken.
Okay.
More on another date. But like, these people are saints. They
Yes.
signed up for this. They went to college. They got student debt to teach your kids.
Yes, I hear I'm with you on that. And I think there are some advantages to it for sure, but some of that I'm like, yeah, you should get 10 weeks off in the summer cuz you need a mental health break from the insanity and the administration and the bullshit. So, I'm with you. I'm with you, but it was early days into school that I was like, this is not for me. Cuz I think when I went into school, you still have this sort of like you be a nurse or a teacher or whatever as a woman. And so, not that I went to school a million years ago, I just sounded
Like,
really
you
old.
just really made yourself sound old, Kelly. Wasn't quite that bad.
When I went to school in 1982, that's not when I went to school. Well, I mean, I was in school in 1982, but I was definitely not going to university. Anyways, we land
Anyhow,
where we land. So, Mother's Day comes around. You're as compliant as one can be expected to be until Saturday night. So, Sunday morning.
so Saturday night we go to the Katy Perry concert with like there's
Mm,
16 of us. And just tell
oof.
you the craziness that is.
How many of those are adults?
We were at a, like, 1-to-2 ratio, I think.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had Presley, so I had 3.
Yeah.
But, that was, like, the fakest laugh ever. Kelly, don't ever laugh like that. If you don't think something's funny, just keep your face straight. I hate fake laughs. It's awful. I'm embarrassed now. Hold on. It wasn't funny.
Maybe I was swallowing my water. You don't know.
Well, whatever it was not
Don't
authentic.
make that sound again.
Don't ever do that to me again.
You phony bitch.
Okay. So we get to the Katy Perry concert, get through the whole thing. Presley's pissed off at me because I took her phone. And now my daughter has a bark phone, which, if
What?
anyone,
A
this thing
bark?
is so locked down
Oh, bark like a
because,
dog? That kind
yeah,
of
it's
bark?
called bark. Yeah.
Okay.
Because she lives, at her dad's and at my place, right? Like, I have a phone for her to communicate with me
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
him. This has no games on it. It has no social media. It looks just like it can take pictures and stuff. It looks just like it's a smartphone, but it's like disabled. And everything's disabled on it.
I think you're allowed to use that word.
I meant disabled the button. Everything is disabled on it and it's all controlled through my phone.
Okay.
So, long story short, she wants to spend the entire concert taking videos, to which I'm like, grab the phone. I'm like, I will take videos. You watch the concert. She has
Yeah.
tears. It's now past her bedtime. I'm like, great. This is going to be so much fun. Can't you just be grateful, kid? My God. So Saturday, Colton stayed with his dad. And so he's my early riser. Presley's like whenever she gets up. I mean, it's still by like 9, but she's not 6:30
Beautiful.
every single morning. Like, hey, mommy.
Yeah.
Hi. Did you sleep
Hi,
well?
it's a new day.
I'm
I missed
hungry.
you. Yeah.
I missed you. Hi, mommy. Which is how my sweet son is. Presley wakes up in a bad mood and takes like 35 minutes to an hour to get out. I've always been that way. So, anywho, I'm laying in bed enjoying my just kind of quiet morning. Presley rolls down about 8:45. We don't have a soccer game till noon. And she crawls in bed with me and she grabs the remote of what I'm watching and she turns on Dance Moms, which I'm like, okay. And she's like, Mommy, I'm hungry. There hasn't been a single Mother's Day yet. Mommy, I'm hungry. Go make me some breakfast. I was like, dude, it's Mother's Day. On principle alone, I'm not making you breakfast. There's cereal. And she's like, oh, I don't want cereal. Oh, yeah, happy Mother's Day. And this is how she really sounds. And then she burrows back into the bed. And I'm kind of sitting there and I'm trying not to get mad. I'm like, she's tired. She's only 10. But like, for real, kid?
Can we remember why she's tired? Because she stayed up late at a concert that her 5-day post-op mom took her to?
That meant so much to her, of course, that she didn't talk to me throughout most of it. Anywho, but it would destroy her
Right.
life had I not gone. So she's laying there and I'm laying there and I'm like starting to fall back asleep. And she's like, Mom, and she hits me and is like, I'm hungry. I really want biscuits and gravy. And I was like, okay, listen.
Hit you
You're
where?
not
'Cause you
you're
just
not
said
even getting toast, much less biscuits and gravy, which is like one of my signature things that I make really, really, really well.
and I can attest to the goodness of biscuits and gravy from Christy, and
That's right.
I've never had them before.
I made
They
them for
were
you.
I know, but I'd
Oh,
never had biscuits and gravy in my life. That doesn't even seem like a thing, let alone a breakfast thing. So when you made it that day, I'm like, "Sure, let's do it." It was delicious. I'm
that's
glad
right.
you
Yeah.
froze the extra too, because I ate them for days.
God love you, Canadians. Biscuits and gravy, it's a thing. It's a thing. So I'm like half out of it, and I was like, I'm not making biscuits and gravy. And then just order us something in. Order from Whataburger. Whataburger does have breakfast. So
Oh, I
I
was gonna say burger? Okay.
no, they have breakfast and they have biscuits and gravy because it's a company from the South. So they have biscuits and
Okay.
gravy. Put in an order really quick for that. I pay, $1 billion to have it delivered because I'm not going anywhere. And as I'm unpacking things in the kitchen and putting them on a plate for Presley, I'm like, and I give it to her, and my kid's sitting there eating in my bed, watching Dance Moms, and
Your
I'm
show
like,
on your TV.
did she just trick me into giving her breakfast in bed on Mother's Day?
You got bamboozled, baby.
Screwed. I mean, the rest of
This
the day
is
pretty much went just about like that. Like, it
this
was
is
just,
some dumb fuckery that you got looped into for sure.
but I mean, at one point during the day, I did start crying and I was like, do you even care about me? Also, I'm post op. I'm sure it all messed with my hormones.
Post for sure. It is quite literally they removed your hormone makers. Yes, it
But they kept, I
absolutely.
kept, I kept my ovaries. So I shipped my hormones. I thought in my head, I thought, well, I have ovaries, so my hormones should be fine. That's not the case, actually. When you remove a uterus and fallopian tubes, things happen that you didn't really count on. So my moods, I've just been like a freaking roller coaster
I'm
the
pretty
past.
sure all of the oxytocin in your body is housed in your uterus and ovaries because it's there to nurture the tiny little growing body. And then you ripped it out. Now you're like, my give a fuck is gone.
My kids stood in the corners at the grocery store. We went ease on them. Like they were shoving the cart back and forth and like mad at each other. And I'm trying to talk to the florist because I'm going to our soccer game and I'm the team manager and I wanted to get all the moms like flowers for their daughters to give them because I'm an overachiever and should have had my ass at home icing my belly. So they start fighting and I'm just like, stop. You go to that corner and you go to that corner. If you guys are going to act like you're 3 years old, I'm going to treat you like you are. And Presley's like, this is so humiliating, Mom. And I was like, don't you think that the two of you screaming at each other and trying to bully your 6-year-old brother over with a cart is embarrassing?
I love it. And be like, get in the corner and hope that nobody steals you. You're there. Just throw a little fear in with their humiliation. These are the real Mother's Day tips, ladies and gentlemen. And remember, my children are all successful adult-ish humans. So take it from me.
Let's talk about your kids. Okay, so we got your mother. Like, what did they do for you? Please tell me that your older children did something for you.
I will not say who. One son FaceTime me to chat. He is actually on a trip in another time zone, so I appreciated that he got up early to call me when it was still my morning. My other son sent me a text well past dinner. Happy Mother's Day. He's that kid, so no disrespect. My daughter, of course, got me flowers delivered and chocolate covered strawberries and all the things that as a woman you're like, I would really appreciate. I'm like, oh yeah, that's why you have to have at least one girl. Now, Presley's 10, so you're halfway there. So I went out to brunch with my daughter and my cousin, and we went to Mother's Day brunch and had espresso martinis and good artichokes and burrata cheese with tomatoes and all the things that I really like. And we
I
drove in
love.
the sunshine. I know you cannot go wrong with burrata. I've even
Mm-mm.
on how you can make it yourself, and I just don't know.
It can go next to my garden that I have, all the stuff for. I still haven't planted.
When do you need me to fly out there? Let me tell you.
Come anytime, please. I now have a bed in my guest room, so that's all done.
Okay. Well, I know you have a TV in your bedroom, so I'm far more likely to be in there because I also want to sip coffee and eat in bed. So scooch over. That's what real girlfriends do.
I have a king size bed.
That's
You have
perfect.
plenty of room. Plenty of room.
And Sunny can fit in there too. That's
No,
perfect.
Sunny's not allowed on the bed. Hard no. My dog is not allowed in my bed. I know. I know it's hard for you. I'll give you a few
I'm
minutes
going
to
to send you
process.
some studies. I'm going to send you some studies specific to women.
Pacific or specific?
I had a root canal yesterday. Give me a break.
Did you really? Now I feel like an asshole. I'm sorry, Kelly. How you
It's a
doing?
little like when you do DIY and you're like, "Oh, we're only going to change the lights in the bathroom," and then they take some of the drywall down, and it's like, "Well, fuck." So I have my wisdom teeth out, and now my other teeth are like, "Hey, while you're here, could this also be super painful?" So it's fine. It's just a root canal here and a bridge that they'll probably tell me needs to go out, and I'm waiting for the inevitable full scale renovation that is going to happen when my dentist looks at it tomorrow.
Let me ask you, Kelly, did you read all the material on getting your wisdom teeth taken out and what could
Nobody
happen?
gave me any material, but if they
Well,
had, you're
isn't that
damn right
your
I would have
fault?
read it. I didn't need any. I didn't need my
Clearly you
wisdom teeth.
did.
Actually, wisdom teeth, yes, they sent me that. And yes, I did read it. Mostly because I'm like, if there's some weird prep, sometimes you have to use the Hiba cleanse and have a shower or whatever before surgeries. I want to make sure that I don't miss any of those things where you finally get to the OR and then they're like, oh, we have to cancel it because you ate a fucking piece of gum, right? Like, I don't want to have something kick me out. I'm a rule follower, Christy.
But up to surgery, I'm a rule follower. Like those are
Oh, he's
bullets.
just post
It's a
op care.
list. It's a
Okay.
list. It's like here's what you can't do, and
I'm going
it's
to
or
just,
have. It's a
I'm just
list.
going to, I'm going to call something out to you here. The pre-operative checklist is for your physician. Excuse me. My husband is calling me.
Put him on speaker.
Absolutely not. He's been gone for 10 days. That's a
No.
terrible idea. Yeah, back to this operatively, those instructions are for your care team to make sure that your surgery or whatever your procedure is going to go well for them and you, but more them. Your post-operative care is 100% for you. And that's the part, let's go back to Mother's Day. That is the part of it that you are ignoring. This is to make your healing go better, your surgery or procedure be more successful. I feel like I'm lecturing. This is not meant to be a lecture episode, but it
Here's the thing, mother.
Yes.
Apparently, my family had an over and under on if I was going to go to the Katy Perry concert or not. Apparently, there's a side text that was about my care and like, oh, hey, she's out of
I'd want to
surgery.
read that one.
Yeah. So my sister Angela was like, by the way, did you know there was like an over and under on if she's going to the Katy Perry concert or not? And I was like, you said I was going, right? She's like,
Yeah, I was going to
duh.
say, who is the dumbass in your family who said you weren't going?
Well, one of my sisters did text me, and I think I don't think she was being snarky in this. Text me after the concert and whatever, and I did have a little bit of a setback. Okay, I did have some setback things happen because I was not resting. It's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. My sister, she said,
Shocker.
was the Katy Perry concert worth it?
Worth it? Thank you.
And I'm
Whatever
like,
sister that is me in your
well,
sister
I'm just
form.
like, it wasn't about Katy Perry because honestly, I don't care. It was
Yeah,
about Presley's first real concert. And
that's fair.
as a mother, you know,
Okay.
it's funny. You're sitting over here, blah, blah. You should take care of yourself and you don't read the post
Okay.
op. But tell me how many times in your life have you put your child's feelings before your own health care?
That before my own health care. I honestly don't know that I've ever
Or
been in a
safe care?
scenario. Yeah, I don't know if in any scenario I've put my health behind my children's moods, but definitely in every other facet, 100 or 99.9% of the time. I bet you any money, though, if we asked our children the same question, they would say never.
Oh,
She always does things for herself first. And I'm like, fuck, if you knew how many times I wanted to zig when I zagged because of you, you would. I could lay a guilt trip on you so thick you'd find a fucking pyramids underneath it.
so let me ask you this. Surgery is an extreme example, but let's just take being sick. Mom gets sick.
No
What
such
changes
thing.
for children?
No things. None
Should
of
you
the
be,
things.
when you have the flu, should you be in bed and resting? Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Do you, if you have small children that are in need of your assistance?
No, you don't, even
No.
if you have a grown ass husband who has the same flu, but of course it is much worse because it's the man flu. You
I've
can
seen Andrew say,
you continue to soldier on. You're like, we're fine. This is fine. Which is why the next thing we should talk about is when mom tells you, I don't want anything, we don't fucking mean it. Because we have really made all these sacrifices. Make a tiny sacrifice for me. And by that, I mean a spa day and 0 questions on
spa
Mother's
day,
Day.
spa day without my children.
Yeah, I
I want
think
to
those
clone
things.
myself so I can go be with my kids so they have a great day too. But I think until like the age of at least 16, you shouldn't have to be with your children on Mother's Day. Can we normalize that?
I
Like
think
it's
that's
Mother's Day.
it's Mother's Day. It should be like you just to celebrate being a mom, you should go be anything but a mom.
Also, why would you ever tell anyone you didn't want anything?
Because I
That's
think
just
I secretly want them to surprise me with the right answer that they don't know the answer to.
cool. I don't know. Surprise me would be much better guidance for your children. So, what
Okay,
do
I
you
don't
want?
know,
Let's
surprise
practice
me.
this. Hey, Mom Kelly, what would you like for Mother's Day?
That's fair. I think now that everybody's older, what I say is here's what I don't want. I don't want to make any decisions. Like
Love that.
there's quite literally nothing you could give, get, or do with me that'll be wrong. I just don't want to decide. I don't want to decide the fastest route to the fucking restaurant. I don't want to decide which booth we sit. I just want to like be that kid in the snowsuit down the sidewalk. That's what I want to be for 24 hours.
I love that. I feel the same way. Like on birthdays and stuff, people are like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I don't want to make a decision. That's what I want to do.
Perfect. Yes, agreed.
I love that.
I have these girlfriends. God, I love them and they're so smart. And I realize here's something I have facilitated in my life, and it even happens in my girlfriends. This dependability and decision making that I do means that the people around me just turn their brains off. Oh, Kelly's here. I can turn my brain off. So my family does it all the time. When we go out, my husband suddenly becomes completely stupid and can't make decisions because he's waiting for me. And I'm like, you drive around all day. How do you figure out where the fuck the best place to park is? Why all of a sudden? Anyways, when I go traveling with my girlfriends, I didn't realize, but they get to do the same thing too, which I am grateful because I know they have busy lives themselves. But one time we were traveling in Amsterdam, very jet lagged, off a red eye, no sleep, whatever. And we get to the airport, and I am so like, when you're so tired that you're just almost high, you can't even fire your thoughts. I'm kind of wandering in the airport, and I'd not been before, and my friends are dutifully following me like baby ducks, and I'm like, "Guys, where are we going?" And they're like, "I don't know, we just follow you. We don't look at the signs." What the fuck? So just like completely ready. Their feet touch the ground. Kelly's here. Turn off the thinking. And I'm like, "Damn it.
Well, you got to get another friend in the group that
I
like
need another
likes to
me."
plan this stuff because I don't. So this is interesting. Usually on trips, I'm not the one that plans anything. Like I am I have a sister who's neurotically organized, who I love with everything in my heart, that I can get around her and just she's like the VP of client delivery, which is used to be project management for a cybersecurity company. Like she's wicked smart and super organized, and like I can get around her and not have an opinion, and I love it. She'll
You're
pick
like,
the
"This is a
restaurant,
holiday."
she'll tell me the time, she's like, here's what we're doing, and she also gets me well enough to know, like, don't ask me what I want to do for my birthday. You know me, just pick any one of the 50 billion things I love and let's do
Yeah,
that.
let's do that. I think what I do appreciate about girlfriends and women in general, in those scenarios, you can actually say, "Hey, I don't wanna make any decisions. What I really want is to make no decisions, and you know me well enough, there's no wrong answers." And they listen. How many times do you have a conversation with your children and your spouse, and you're like, "I don't wanna make any decisions," and they're like, "Okay, but just a quick question. What's the password to the Wi-Fi?" Right? So we are never gonna change it, Christy. It's never
I
gonna change.
know.
How was the rest of your week? So you survived Katy Perry. You had a small temper tantrum that flipped the script on your Mother's Day breakfast being a DIY for some other child. I'll talk to Presley about that later. Then how did it go?
Well, so, the low point I think was definitely being in the grocery store. Oh God. And then I was at a soccer tournament, and can I just tell you, I forgot about this. I was called a Karen. I was called a Karen. And for my friend Karen,
Out
I hate this has
loud?
become out loud. I hate this has become a thing because my friend Karen is amazing.
Yes.
Karen, if you're listening, just turn this off because this whole part will just drive you crazy. Anywho, so I told you I'm the manager for my daughter's premier competitive soccer team. I
Okay.
was asked, told, or whatever to do that. Like I literally was like, "You're the only one left. You have to do this by the coach." And it's like nothing I'd ever sign up for, ever, ever. It's terrible. It's organization. It's like all the things that I just
That are not your skills.
that are not my skill set. I'm like, are we going to talk about vision and how we get from here to there? That sounds like, oh no, this is writing down numbers and
This
not
is
transposing them.
logistics.
Fantastic. I can do it. It's just not my favorite.
No, it's just not your favorite place to be. Anyways, okay,
So
go on.
I didn't drive to the game because I was maybe taking some pain pills as one does after a major surgery.
When you're
And
still non-compliant 8 days
and
later.
I'm being non-compliant, Kelly. So anywho, we were this tournament was super intense. We're sitting there, and my niece is the goalie, or the
Okay.
keeper, as the coach would say, as our English coach would say. You know the area in between the flag and the goalie,
Yep.
the
Along the
net,
back
and
line?
along the back line,
Yep.
and there's that turf, that bit of space that no one that box, like you don't go in there, right? Like that's an understood thing. That box is off limits during games, right?
Like the keeper's box?
Like no, like okay, here's the line. Here,
I
that
love that
place.
this is an audio
I'm
podcast.
gonna draw
You're
this out for you. So
gesturing.
there's a Okay,
For the
Kelly, whatever.
listeners, she
So
just is gonna give me the finger any minute. Wait for it.
there's the corner, and
Yep.
then there's that
There's a
back
little
line.
semicircle around the corner where you take
No, no, no.
corner kicks
Yeah,
from.
corner
Yes.
kicks, right? But there's a
Yeah.
flag there. And
Yeah.
the space directly that's not on the playing field, but directly behind that flag to the what would be the back of the goal, right?
Okay.
So that
Okay.
area right
Yes.
next to the goal, that's still it's not
Sure.
the actual field,
But
but
you're
it's
saying
part of
off
the
the
field.
field.
Off the
Yes.
field, but it's
Outside of the
still
white line.
outside of the white line, but it's still lining up directly with the back of the goal. So it's an area
Right.
you're
It's
not
where the
supposed to
net
be in.
is. Yeah, the tail of the
Yeah.
net.
So,
Yes.
anyways, we're playing this team and it is super crazy. And their older boys team goes and sits in that area next to our
No.
goalie.
No,
The
no,
whole
no,
team is
no.
sitting there cheering. And of course, my sister's like, what are they doing? And I was like, I'll tell you what they're not fucking doing. So I get up and I go over there. And I think they were probably 11 to 12-year-old boys, a whole team of them. I say, hey guys, can you move on the other side of the flag? You're not supposed to sit there.
Yeah. Yeah,
Nothing happens.
nobody should be behind the keeper for the entirety of the back line.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
say, hey, you're not supposed to sit there. Can you guys, I didn't even say you're not supposed to be there. I said, can you guys please move to this side of the flag? And I get crickets. So I say it 3 times. And finally, I'm like, hey, you're not supposed to be there. Move to the other side of the flag. At which point, a mom comes up to me with her husband and she's like, I'm sorry, what is happening? Why are you yelling at our boys? And I was like, well, because I asked them 3 times nicely and they still didn't move.
Yeah.
So I raised my
Yeah.
voice. I mean, that's what mothers do, right? And she's like, if you have an issue with what our children are doing, you need to come talk to us. I'm like, they're not supposed to be sitting there. You guys are sitting right there. You should probably know that. And they're like, everyone else is out here sitting there. And I'm like, no, they're not. That's not where you sit during a game. Can you just ask them to move, please? And she's like, you don't need to yell at our children. I was like, lady, if an adult asked my team, my girls, to move 3 times and they hadn't,
There's
I'd be
gonna be a
screaming
dark
at them,
voice. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So these little boys, and then they start talking shit to me. These little boys. Okay.
Nice as you do.
No, you don't. You shut
I
up
know.
and you listen and you go. Like I almost talked to. So they started calling me Karen. To
The
which I
boys
wanted
called you
to
Karen?
the
The
boys were
boys.
calling me
Okay.
Karen. To which and I'm walking away. Like, I'm done. This
Do not
conversation is
engage.
over. Well, my next thing is I'm just gonna go, like, flag down the ref and be like, "Tell him to get the fuck out," right? But they started calling me Karen, and it took everything in me not to be like, "Hey, you little fuckers. I'm
Yeah,
not a
exactly.
Karen, I'm a Beth. And if
Yeah,
you don't know what that means,
yeah.
watch Yellowstone. We'll talk later." Like I was
Why
like, you have no
exactly.
idea. Like when it comes to things like safety of your children and like dumb shit like that, like that's not being a Karen. That's like you're idiots. Just move. And
Yeah.
so the little shitheads. I know. I'm sorry. I'm like cussing about other people's children, but I was so mad. I was so mad, and I was mostly mad at
Well, yeah.
you guys. And as the boys were going around to play, they started waving at me because I'm on the 50-yard line or not 50-yard line. Wrong
I
football.
thought we were at a soccer game.
American soccer. I apologize.
Wrong
I'm
football.
I'm at midfield and they're like waving at me. And you know what I did?
Didn't
Waves. Like I gave them a pageant wave. I was
oh,
smiled
okay.
at their little faces and I'm just like, bye. Hope you guys lose every other game you play for the rest of your lives.
I think the thing that is most shocking is just the balls on some younger people. Like we grew up with this fearful respect of adults. And it's the fear is not like I'm afraid I'm going to get my ass beaten, though I think that was it some of the times.
Oh,
It was
definitely for me.
just
It was definitely my ass getting beat most of the time. But yeah, okay.
but I mean random people like you would never talk back to grown adults at a soccer game. If you got told to move, you might mutter fucking Karen under your breath, but you are not talking back and you are moving. And if you didn't, the person who was most likely to give you the business about it were your own parents when they found out that you ignored an adult giving you direction. So that's, I think, where we're getting, which is like the balls on these kids to just be like, "Ruh."
If I had not had just had surgery and really wanted to get off this field because it was super hot and I was swelling like a balloon, I was swelling. Yes, I swelled like crazy after sitting out in almost 90-degree heat. This is maybe why my doctor didn't want me to go. But had I not been like at my freaking physical limit, I would have
Yeah.
had a conversation with their coach.
I would have
Um,
gone to the coach too.
because I would have been like, let me just explain this. Because also too, there's a bunch of boys in uniforms. You don't know who they belong to.
Well, and
Do I
you
need to
said it
go
was
ask every single parent? This is during a game,
but you
right?
said it's also a girls' game, right?
And they're boys
Yeah.
yelling at preteen girls. Like, let's
Yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
heart.
Yeah.
But they're in the wrong area. Like, go to the
Yeah.
sidelines and yell. I don't care.
Well, I'm surprised the referee actually didn't say anything to them because it's very distracting to the goalie.
So my coach didn't see it at first
Mm.
because I took care of it. That's my job. I take care of things before he sees them, right? That's what we do, Kelly. We take care of everything before anything goes wrong. We see what's going to go wrong and we just go, this is like business, everything else. So I addressed it as soon as it was happening because I'm just like, this is not okay. This is not a safe, good environment for young women to be playing.
Mm.
And again, they shouldn't have been sitting there, period. I don't care. Like, I can't control your kids from what they're going to yell, but have them at least
No.
not be on the damn field doing it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And
And
my
they may
coach,
actually be yelling nice things.
no, they
They
weren't.
may actually
It
well,
didn't
no,
matter. I don't
they
care.
aren't, but it doesn't really matter because they could be like Twitter pated by this gorgeous keeper, but at the same time it's going to throw her off. You're not supposed to have people behind you in the back of your head
Well, they're not
when
even
you're
behind her. They were to the side. They were in her periphery,
in her peripheral. That's even
like
worse. Yeah.
directly.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So, anyways, so I almost got in a fight again. It would have been a different had I not. It's so funny because, like, had I been not post op, it probably would have ended in a very different situation. Not that I fight with people, but I just can't handle like when you support your disrespectful children.
This is my number one rule is don't raise assholes. That's real
Don't
like
raise assholes.
I can dream to raise the next nuclear physicist who changes, the course of future for everybody. Okay. But I really just don't want whoever they are doing whatever they do to not be a dick about it. So I feel like I'm 3 for 3 or we're 3 for 3, but that's really my number one rule. Just don't be an
Yeah.
asshole. Be a good person.
We should end this one with like different advice you've been given as a mom. Like, what was the
Ooh.
good and what was the shit? And then, because I've got some good ones that I was given. And I've quoted this guy before.
You might tweak my memory of a good one. You go
Okay.
first.
So, this was an old boss of mine, Clifford, and he raised 4 children, all non-assholes, right? Which again is just the goal. Like, I just don't want you to be an asshole. Like,
Mhm.
you don't have to go change the world, although I think everyone not being an asshole would change the world. But I just want you to be a respectful, like, human being.
Mhm.
And so he said so it was when Presley was really little and she had this whole thing where she was sneaking back in bed, you know,
In
in the
your
middle
bed?
of the night. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Sneaking
okay.
sneaking into my bed in the middle of the night, which I just thought was the worst thing in the world for a 2-year-old to be doing because clearly she doesn't understand boundaries. I read way too many books when I had Presley. And I was like had competing theories working
Yeah,
against
yeah,
each other.
yeah. You're like, "I'm gonna
And he
ruin her if she sleeps with me." Yes.
correct. I mean, because then she'll never be able to sleep by herself and she'll have issues with, I mean, all of the fear. I think I was like the perfect generation for that, like education and fear education, right? When we started to
Mm,
like understand what was really happening with children from a psychological level. But I was a generation that wasn't, that when I was having my kids, they didn't give like, hey, you can't really screw this up. It was like, you will fuck up your kids if they
yeah.
are not eating on their own by this age, at this age, and this age,
Yeah, you
or
had
doing
growth
all these
charts
things.
and this talking charts and this and this and
Yeah.
this, and you're like, "Oh, no, I'm in the 80th percentile."
I mean, it was stressful. So he said, anything that's not going to be a problem when she's 22, don't worry about. So if you think of those things, so
Yeah,
is Presley going to be crawling into your bed at 22? Probably not. Not unless she broke up with a boyfriend or whatever. And in which
yeah,
case,
and then you'd be
honey,
wishing
you
she
you
would.
you come in my bed. You come, you snuggle, you sleep, whatever. And so things like Presley didn't want to poop in the potty at first, right? She'd go all day long and be like, may I have my pull up, please? And
"I
poop in
need
her
to shit in my pull-up. Could you grab me one?"
literally. But like things like
Love.
that. Is that gonna be a problem when she's 22? Nope, sure not. But disrespect,
Mm,
whining, like things like that, those have become character traits. So he freed me so much when he said that because I'm like, I'll look at stuff and like, for instance, Presley's spelling could be better. And you know what? I don't care. I'm like, great. Try as hard as you can, but don't knock yourself out, kid.
yeah.
Or, she hates to wear deodorant and she stinks. Not going to be a problem when she's
Not gonna be
22.
a problem in about 2 more years. Some boy's
Okay.
gonna say
So
something
that
and
was
fix
good
that all up.
advice. Any good advice that you have? I have lots of
I
it. But
I don't know that this wasn't parenting advice. It was actually advice my mom had given me when I was growing up. So it was parenting advice to me as a child that I have since then used as a parent and see the wisdom in it. But I remember getting like super frustrated at the things people were saying or doing or whatever, as you do when you're a teenager. And her advice to me was, Kelly, you can't change the way people act, only the way that you react to them.
amen.
And it was just such sage advice. And at the time, I remember thinking, that's the stupidest fucking thing I ever heard. Why don't you tell me to punch him in the face? Eye for an eye, ma. But as an adult, you grow up and you're like, actually, there's a lot of wisdom in that. So you, same as your boys being stupid and calling you a Karen and doing whatever, you're like, okay, I can just smile and wave, little parade smile and wave at you. And inside, I could be telling you to go eat a bag of dicks.
Wow, I didn't even go that far inside. I just was like, I hope they lose this whole tournament.
Okay.
That's what I wished
I
on
try
them.
to go for longer term emotional damage. You're
Hey.
more in the here and now.
The grudge thing. I don't know why that brought up grudges because you're like long-term discipline. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, I just want your life to suck for 10 minutes and then I'm over it and I love
Then
you
I'm
again
over
and
it. Yeah.
everything's fine. But I was talking to someone the other day, one of my friends, and man, we were talking about a school administrator and she's like, I'm not sad to see them go. And I was like, why? And then she brought up something from 6 years ago. I was like,
Still waters run deep. She that must have cut.
shit, I won't piss you off ever. God.
I don't think I'm a grudge keeper. No, I don't think I'm a grudge keeper, but I will say we'll go back to this long term damage. I remember Brady telling me once, and he was in his mid teens, so he was not, too young to know what he was saying. He was doing something that he knew I was going to disagree and start an argument with him about, but he also knew his dad would. And so we're divorced and he decided to have the fight with his dad. And I said, I don't understand, like why wouldn't you just bring that to me? Why would you take that to dad? And he goes, because mom, I know if I have a fight with dad, he's just going to blow up and we're going to be, over it in that moment. You are going to plant that seed in my brain forever. And I was like, oh, deep emotional and psychological long-term damage. Nailed it.
Do I applaud you here or
No,
no?
I'm
I'm
saying it. I'm
very
like
afraid of you.
everybody in the internet. I'm just saying it sort of funny.
It's fine. It's fine. We all have our moments. We all have our moments. I'm not a grudge keeper. I can't. I'm terrible. I'm like, because I'm an empath, right? Like, so even when I like just
Does that have too many word letters in that word? Try it again.
did I say
You're
it
right.
wrong? I'm an empath.
There we go. That's better.
I
Yep.
also apparently say divorce wrong, which I didn't know I did.
Say it.
Divorce?
How is that wrong?
I don't know, but Preston tells me all the time to say it wrong. And so does my sister, so I don't know.
Divorce.
Divorce. We're getting a divorce. Apparently, I put an extra syllable in there. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I also apparently say insurance incorrectly.
My mother-in-law says everyone says realtor incorrectly because they say realtor instead of realtor.
I say realtor.
Yeah, I know. Even every time I say it, I hear it in my I hear her in the back of my mind. Did I say it right?
Deep psychological damage. That's where you got it from, Kelly.
This is a mom trick. Generational. You can't get away
Generational
from it.
trauma. What were we even talking about? I don't
Good
remember.
advice. You're going to
Good
give me more
advice.
good advice.
No, I was just trying to think like all of the different advice I've been given as a mom, and I've been given like some seriously bad advice.
What's the worst piece of advice you think you were given? And did you take the advice and realize it was shit? Or did you hear it and go, hell no?
I took it. I think the worst piece of advice I was ever given was to sleep train my children.
Mm.
And when I say that, from birth,
Like
right?
let
So
them cry
there's
themselves to sleep from birth.
no, it's just like getting them on a schedule from birth, like putting them down right before they fall asleep and, making like all the, I was a psycho. I mean, granted, Presley had, or was, what's the word?
Colicky?
Well, I mean, she screamed nonstop for 3 months, if that's what they call it these days. But so she was really colicky. So I was insane, anyways. I mean, I was literally insane after I had Presley. And I was trying to, make sure, because I was going back to work.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, I knew I had to go back to work at 3 months. So I had to make sure that, which I know we can't even talk about, that's a whole other episode. But so I had this huge fear that I wouldn't have her sleep trained by 3 months. And so from the second she was like, I had her on a schedule. Like I was like, she's going to eat here. And like, I'd wake her up to feed her. And my mom's like, never wake a sleeping baby,
Sleeping baby.
Christine. I'm like,
Let
what do you know? You've only
sleeping
had 9
babies
children. Shut up, Mary.
Yeah. You couldn't keep count. You didn't even know where we were, let alone if we were awake or asleep. So, okay, you said it was the worst advice ever. Is that because of what it did to you or what you think it did to Presley, or why was that the worst advice?
Well, I think it's because of what it does to both, right? Especially when you have a baby, right? For the first 18 months, they can actually feel your feelings or something like that. I don't know. That's probably not true either. Someone just probably said
Oh,
that to
no, I
scare
think
me.
that's true. I think that's true.
Because what it did to both of us, because I already
Mhm.
had high enough expectations for myself, right? Like it's like
Mhm.
motherhood, you think you're going to be Mary Poppins and it turns out you're Miss Hannigan from Annie, right? Instead of Mary, you know what I'm talking about? No.
Why, yeah, we knew at some point you were gonna have to make a fucking movie reference.
I'll send you the meme.
Okay,
Anywho,
perfect.
I think I
Anywho, I
think
know
because
Andy, they were orphans, so whoever she is, she can't be good.
she was the head of the orphanage, and she
There you
also
go.
took gin baths. Long story. I'll send you
Okay.
we'll post it. I'll post that meme on our social so you can see what I'm talking about. I think there was already enough pressure on me. I think putting additional, like, to, like, okay, get your body back in shape, get ready to go back to work, love on your kid, I mean, keep them alive, first of all. I think, like, if you just start, like, can
Yeah.
we have no expectations of me
Minimum.
other than to keep myself and this child alive?
Yes, and get sleep when you can. I remember sleep when the baby's sleeping, and I'm like, okay, but and Brady was a terrible napper. Like he was like 20 minutes, and then he wanted to see what the world had changed in the 20 minutes he was gone, and so you could either shower or eat or sleep, but you couldn't, there wasn't enough time to do two or all three of them. So I didn't choose sleep all the time. I chose to watch a show or have a fucking snack, right? And so that was probably one of those things where I was like, I should have listened to that. I could have just slept more. I would have been happier and more relaxed, although I was fine. But I do think that generally speaking, there's just too much pressure put on us, period, when you're first, especially when you're a first time mom, but when babies are little, and then you overanalyze and you think you're fucking everything up and you're going to like ruin these children for life, and that's just not true. You might at worst make your first 6 or 18 months more difficult because you didn't set a schedule and babies like schedules or whatever. But don't get so bent and twisted. I had the same with breastfeeding where, I had a physician who was very pro breastfeeding, and I think it's wonderful. But I also don't think that you should be in tears thinking that you're a terrible mom because it's not going well, because it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Babies do feed off that energy, and then your milk suffers because you're not relaxed and you're not feeling all the love and oxytocin. So there's, if people were just like, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, there, show me the study that said the kid that was bottle fed is traumatized for life. Well, like we could pump, and that. So had I known those things in my first pregnancy, I probably would have been a little more chill. I knew them for my second one, and then my second one, I was like, okay, here's what we're not going to do.
Could I retract my worst advice?
Yes.
So when Presley was born, I made a ridiculous amount of colostrum and my milk didn't come in for days. So
Days.
the nurse told me to start pumping. So I literally pumped bags of colostrum that I kept, by the way. So whenever the baby was sick, I know, but also I needed milk. And of course, I was such a psycho. Formula was like, no, then she'll never go back to breast milk. Da, 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 right. Like I was like all in my head about it. And then this nurse told me, hey, since you're going back to work, just keep pumping in your off times. That was terrible advice. I filled a freaking deep freeze. We had to buy a deep freeze. I filled a deep freeze and I was in so much pain all the time. Even
Because
once
your
the
milk was
baby's
always coming in.
always like, every 3 hours, it was like, it was awful. People was like, oh yeah, it's a shitty problem to have, Christy. But like, I was literally in pain, and think about how much hormones that takes to produce like over double what your child needs.
You needed a wet nurse somebody else's children. I mean, I'm sure there were
I could have quit
systems,
my job and advertise.
and just sell my boob milk. That actually would have been a nice year. Here's my sabbatical year. I'm pumping.
Well, then you get back in interviewing and they're like, "What'd you do for a year?" And sabbaticals weren't cool back when I had Presley. I mean, a decade ago, it was not cool. It wasn't like, "Oh, you took some time off, good for you." It was like,
Mm,
"You took more than 6 weeks? Why?"
can't
Was the
even with this. I
I can't
can't.
with that. Okay, we gotta stop. And oh my gosh, we're almost at an hour.
We listen, if you're not allowed to have an hour of going over on Mother's Day to vent and talk about stuff, then this is the best self-care hour that we take all week. And we were owed it because we had to miss a week for your lady bits.
For my lady bits, we did. And you know what? There's more on that one. We gotta talk travel. We talk Austria. Austria was a whole thing. It
I
was
did a Vegas trip,
yeah,
saw an
you got to
amazing
see
concert
Jelly
with my
Roll.
kid, Jelly Roll and Post Malone and all those things. Here's and it's Mother's Day adjacent. My kids are now like, I don't understand who you guys are. You're wearing plaid, you're talking to strangers, you're going hiking and you're going to concerts and like what's happening? And I'm like, here's the thing. You guys are grown now and not in our business every minute of the day. So we get to go back to being who we were pre parenting, like
Love
circa
that.
1998. And also, we have more money than we did then. So you're just like going back to your 20 something version of yourself with a few more aches and pains. But the responsibilities and the, busyness in your head have gone away. I know in the back of your mind, you probably have 25 or 50% of your compartments of thoughts allocated to your kids right now because there are active things you need to remember. My compartments are now memory boxes. They're not active folders that are open. It's not that I don't worry about my kids. I just don't have to worry every minute of the day. So now I get to have fun and do fun shit.
So
Chill if I
when
want
their
to.
elementary school calls like they did yesterday, and the school nurse says, first of all, both of your kids are fine.
Yeah, let me lead
God
with.
love her.
Yes, don't bury the lead, lady.
Yeah,
Yes.
but like I love that she does that. She's like, first of all, both of your children are fine. I'm like, God bless you for saying that every single time.
And then you're like, now who fucked up?
Well, it's traditionally Colton.
Colton.
Yeah. The day after Mother's Day, and this is getting way too into it, he's gonna be like, Colton had in school suspension at 6. He now has a record. So
Can I
I
ask?
am
Am I able to ask what he was in school suspended for?
so we're just going through some angry phases where when our friends say mean things to us, we like to poke them in the eye or twist their arm.
Oh, so he's reacting with his body. Can I also ask, what's the difference between an in school suspension and a detention? Is it just language?
I think detention's after school, which I don't think they do that anymore.
So in school suspension is school is on, but you're sitting in the principal's office.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, I love it. It's like a
And
naughty corner in
but
a
but
principal's
listen,
office.
he has done that before, but it wasn't technically called a suspension. Once they say suspension, they file it with the like district,
Then you have a
like
record.
you have a record. So I don't know if I'm winning this mom game that my kindergartner has a record.
Please use my advice given to me by the wonderful Heather Ann. You cannot change the way people act, Colton. Only the way you react to them. And hitting is wrong. Hit in your
Yep.
mind, not with your hands. Hit
Yep.
them with your eyeballs.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that listen, all the rationale in the world, I've given it. I'm like, okay,
Oh
let's
dear.
reenact this scenario. Hence why I was a bit melted down on Sunday when my 10-year-old is shoving a grocery cart at her 6-year-old brother, like trying to mow it over him. I'm like, what are you doing, kid? Of course, 30 seconds later, I got an email from Presley's teacher letting me know that she would be getting an award at the award ceremony next week. So I needed to show up.
Was it for humanitarianism?
No. I'm sure well, it's either I mean, I don't know if it's like a state like she scored higher in the state assessments or if it's like an actual like, "Hey, she was
You
a"
were nominated for a bear. Yeah,
yeah,
citizenship
I don't know
award.
I don't know if it's like a group award or if it's like, where you stand up or if it's like a, "Hey, you got, civil servant of the year," or whatever. I don't even know what the awards are because I didn't think my kids was
We
getting any.
clearly have not had a lot of experience with these types of awards being handed to our offspring because we're like, I don't know, is it called the Civil Servant Award?
Well, then
Not in
can
elementary school.
yeah, clearly. Sorry. Well, maybe it is now. They're way smarter than I was when I was that age, but
They just see more, so they know more.
to balance this out, I then
Yes.
received an email yesterday from Colton's kindergarten teacher saying that he would be getting an award because he has an improvement in kindergarten in reading from the beginning of the year to now, which Colton can like read full books, like books I probably couldn't read when I was in 3rd grade. Like Colton can read. And so he's getting an academic award. I'm like, great. So you're a jock who hits people, who's also really smart. I think he's going to be an anesthesiologist.
This thing. I was like, give her a pause. I love that our joke is the same.
I didn't even know
I
was
mean,
making
he's
a
got
joke when I
those
said it.
blue eyes, so
Oh,
come
those blue
on,
eyes. I
Colton.
mean, I'm like, wait, you're super smart, you're gorgeous, and you like to put people out. This is perfect.
Yeah, there's many a main character in a TV show fits all those criteria. So, to your Clifford advice from before, if this isn't something that's going to be a problem at 22, though the violence probably would be,
Anger management issues are definitely
yeah,
something
some
you
of
need to
those
deal
things
with, Kelly.
you might want to get on, but otherwise. So I guess we should probably do some sort of close so that we're not here all day.
What, you're not enjoying this? I've missed you,
I
Kelly.
do. I could probably this could be a Joe Rogan one. We could talk for 4 hours.
I got more. Hold on, let me get my bag. No, I'm just kidding.
We should close with this sort of dear moms, you deserve more. And this is not a slight against your family. It is a question for yourself, and take my advice over Christy's. Like, sometimes choose you over your kids. Choose your ultimate health over everybody else once in a while.
Be clear. I would have given you the same advice. I would have ripped your ass for not reading what you were supposed to do. I would have been like, I would have flown to California and sat on your bed with a stick and said, you stay
I
in your
may be a
bed.
non-compliant patient, but I'm a bitch of a house nurse. So
Yeah, no, it's for other people, it's just totally different. But on that note, there's that Oprah thing that I with the Jamie Kern,
Lima,
where she talks Kern Lima, where she talks about like what does she say? She says, I'm not more important, I'm just first. Because if you don't take care of yourself, how do you take care of anyone else?
Exactly. So I don't think self-care is selfishness. So figure out, like, what is the self-care? And if it is, sometimes for me, it is sitting on the couch doing sweet fuck all. Monday after Mother's Day, I think I was in my pajamas and I hadn't even brushed my teeth by 2 p.m. I was like, I don't feel guilty about this at all. I'm just going to chill and give myself some grace. So there you go. What is your
I love
plan,
that.
moms? What is your self-care plan? We can manifest next Mother's Day. Maybe I'll take Christy's advice, and rather than saying, you don't need to get me anything when I mean you should do something epic, I could say, I don't know exactly what I want. Surprise me.
There you go.
It
That
does clearly
clearly
state intention. I
it
need a
does.
gift.
It does with direction. Some direction, right? I don't know, pick one of the billion things that make me smile and do it.
There you go. All right.
All
That's
right.
vertically unstable yet again, teetering on some fucking old glitter and sticky toast left in the kitchen after Mother's Day. I don't know. I
Gross.
would recommend that instead of you being so vertical, you could still take a few days of horizontalness and let your body heal.
Yeah, so I'm right on top of that, Rose. We're just gonna get moving on that. And with that, I'm gonna say I'm gonna go take a nap now, Kelly.
Okay. Bye,
All right.
Christy.
Bye. Talk to
Follow,
you
like,
later.
share all the things. Thanks
All
for
the
listening,
things.
guys. And if you didn't have the best Mother's Day, don't worry. There's lots more. And you probably aren't the reason it got fucked up.
And if you are, go see a therapist. Okay, take care.